Welcome to the Amazon's podcast, hour 2. And joining me is a Triple O Dynasty winner on her way to her third Olympia. But first, let's pay some bills. The podcast is brought to you by Maximus Posing Suits, custom competition suits for victory on every stage, MaximusPosingSuits.com. And of course, me, GPS Photography and Video, Wild Photography and Video, because a photo's worth 1,000 words, video's worth 1,000,000. GPSPhotoandVideo.com. Ladies and gentlemen, on her way to her third Olympia. She's become a trendsetter every time she does a show. As far as the Indiana Pro, it went away, but the Triple O Dynasty has already been announced, and she is the champion of the Triple O Dynasty. And I got to wonder if she's going to come back and do it again next year, but we'll get to that in a minute. But most importantly, so glad that she's an Amazon magazine sponsored athlete. All 3 Amazon sponsored athletes are now going to the Olympia, and that is a huge deal. And I couldn't be more happier. And she is on the cover of the May issue of Amazon's fitness magazine for the second time, which is more than appropriate, more deserving. I couldn't be more happier. So make sure you guys go out and buy the magazine. It is dropping today. You'll see it uploaded on the website this weekend. And of course, you'll be able to purchase it on the website as well. Just click on issues and then order your personal print copy. And then, of course, I will have copies as well. As you can see, love to have her on it. Glad this is the second time in a row. And of course, when you look at this is her article, The Art of Bodybuilding. You want to check that out. So again, Theresa, congratulations. 2 times on the cover of Amazon's fitness magazine. I couldn't be more happier. How you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you for having me on again.
Of course.
This is the only time we get to really talk.
Yeah, well, that's fine. That's okay, because you're busy. You are very busy, and it's only going to get even more busier as you get closer to the Olympia. 20 weeks out. How do you feel?
I feel great. We started early. Just checked in with my coach again. I got sick, so he's just 2 weeks on the diet, and then we'll make adjustments. He didn't change anything, so body's responding. It's a lot of food. I'm a little stuffed at times, but it's what's needed, But we'll be ready.
So as you get ready to flow into it, what do you see as goals? Well, we know what the ultimate goal is, because you don't do this for second place.
Nope.
But you're in a great place. You qualified early. You look crazy good. When you qualify earlier, it just takes a lot off of you, and you can focus. And you're on your way to your third Olympia. So this is great.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to get with him. I wanted to start an earlier prep. I want to have him to have 100% handle on the food so we can stay adjustments. And one of the things that he said after it was the Triple O Dynasty was like, let's just not get fat. We just don't want to have all this work to do. And I totally agree with him, because I'm going to be able to grow into the show, by him controlling the food and having that right amount of nutrients going in. My legs are still responding. That's my main thing. And as you know, the only thing that we had to improve on, there was absolutely nothing else but the conditioning, just to come in a little bit tighter. I'm very well balanced. No complaints on the suit, the hair, the makeup, the tan. And it's just bringing them in a little bit tighter.
But when you were at the Triple O Dynasty, everybody was talking like, oh, wow. This is a different Theresa Ivancik. Yep. Everybody was talking all that noise about the legs, and then you showed them the legs. So now what?
Yeah. I was talking to Gary, and I was just like, what in your opinion, what do I need to work on? He's like, every time you walk out on stage, the first thing they look at is your legs. So I was like, just being able to see that and see the pictures and be like, that's me. I told you before, I was crying in the hotel room making the post, because I was looking at those photos and I'm like, oh my God, that's finally me. That's my version of female bodybuilding that I have been striving to actually come to stage with.
Your best look, and yeah, very impressive. And you shut up a lot of naysayers. And
Yep.
like you got 20 weeks. How's
Yep.
it been with Andrew Vu going into your second year?
It's been wonderful. It's been a lot more communication, a lot more trust, a lot more like feedback type thing. So it's like, he knows I know my body, and he's been honestly, I just wrote this down. He's the only coach that actually listened to me in
Wow.
my, 17, years of competing, and taking my feedback and then applying it so we could actually come in as we wanted to. There was a few stricken things that we were dead set on that Jeff has tried to apply numerous times with other coaches. And of course, that like some people are set in their ways, but he was actually like, no, like let's do this, And a couple things I said, if I default and I lose, it's on me,
Hmm.
But he was the first time that he was the only one that actually listened to me, and we communicate very well now.
That is a heck of an endorsement.
Yeah.
And of course, he has two women's bodybuilders going to the biggest show that there is,
Yep.
60 years. You and Ashley Jones, and it's like, wow, I couldn't be
Back
more
to back
happier.
wins.
Ecstatic. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Emphatic wins,
Yep.
and both with Ashley and with you,
Yep.
and
It's
so
always, you go out and you make them look for second. And I feel that
exact
both her and I was able to do that exact same thing at both of these shows.
right. And I'm coming in to win. So, and let the
Yep.
chips fall where they may. But yeah, you're
Exactly.
right. Let them look for second, you
Yep.
know, let them look for second. I got to ask, when you looked at it and got your qualification early, and we talked about this, of course, prior, the Rising Phoenix, was it a thought that you would do the Rising Phoenix, or was it just like, okay, I'm just going to focus on the Olympia?
So back in, I think 2020 was probably like my last Rising Phoenix, because
Hmm.
21 is when I transitioned to women's physique, and then I qualified for the Olympia in 2022. And I know my body very well, and I cannot do show after show after show after show if I
Right.
want to be my absolute best. And I'm really like hurt about me not being able to do that. I mean, I did not apply. I did
Hmm.
not apply. But I would love to apply if I could get my body to be in control, because it's just those two shows are back to back from, I
Right.
don't know if I would bounce back. And right now, like that's, the Olympias are Super Bowl, and you got to come in with your A game. And I don't want to chance any mess ups just yet.
And I don't blame you.
Hmm.
Last time you were seventh in the world. I
Yeah.
got a feeling that you're gonna make a a different climb this time. Let's just
Yeah.
say it that way.
Yeah, I mean, I
And
guarantee you it'll be different than Triple O. It'll
yeah,
be another package. Every time, they're told, even in the industry, from amateur even to the pro leagues, if they tell you to work on something and you come back and you actually did it, that's what's being noticed.
exactly. And then of course you get to sit back and sort of scout the Rising Phoenix as well as you've been
Yep.
scouting so far. Because I mean, you can
Yep.
set you're in a good place. Like, okay, I see what they
Yep.
did there.
Yep.
So I
I'll
mean,
see what I gotta work on.
yeah, there's nothing like time. And when you got
Yep.
time, you can become really dangerous. And then you
Yep.
can really
Exactly.
meticulously get into the details and say, okay, and see what's working. And I'm glad to see it, excited. And shout out to Andrew Vu.
Yep.
I was
Some
I was
people are
talking.
like, don't jump into it like so fast. Like don't get into prep too fast. And I'm like, no, I mean, I like structure. I am huge with
Right.
structure. I don't like feeling lost. If I feel lost, then I get derailed and I get distracted. But if I am on track and I'm 100% in, I'm in. So, but for me, like we were talking about, like I'm telling you I'm in prep, but like I'm in prep, but I'm eating a lot of food.
Yeah.
It's just being tracked and it's being controlled, by what I can and can't do. And that's the main thing. So people don't think that I'm eating chicken, broccoli, and oatmeal, and I'm on a 12-week, 10-week prep right now. That's far from it. I don't want people to get the wrong idea.
Right.
But it's just a heavier monitor of high calorie foods that are being monitored so I don't gain heavy weight and I keep my muscle tissue.
Hmm. And I think we roughly got 7, 8 shows left. But what's been your thoughts on the season so far? You got the Toronto Pro coming up, Super
Hmm.
Show, I should say. And then, of
Yep.
course, you got that Chicago and Atlanta Pro in July. What are your
Yep.
thoughts so far?
I think they're going to be tough shows, because
Hmm.
we're really packing in and pushing in on how many shows we have left to qualify. We've been chomping
Right.
at the bit. I think we're 3 deep in. I don't think we have a whole heck of a lot this year. So, I mean, you're going to see some really good heavy hitters at all of these
Hmm.
shows. And you're also going to see a lot of pro debuts and newcomers coming in, which is great to see. So it's going to be a tough battle, and it's going to
Yeah.
be like whoever wants it bad enough, like just putting everything you can in. And one, I two is just like believing in yourself and having confidence.
Yeah. How bad do you want it? And this thing is
Yep.
going to be, yeah, it's going to get nasty. It's going to get nasty in a good way.
Yes, it
Because
is. It's going to
it's
be
like,
eat, sleep, breathe, train, and nothing else.
yeah, the lineup from last year to this year is going to look totally different.
Oh yeah.
Whether it's the same people there or not, because everybody's
Mhm.
physique is going to be totally different. They had a year to improve. They got the feedback, and so hey, let's go.
Yep.
This is a good thing.
Yep.
Looking ahead, Triple O Dynasty is going to be back next year, which is great. And the most significantly is the prize money is going to go up. And not trying to jinx anything or look into the crystal ball, but when you look into next year, will you do an earlier show? Have the same strategy? You think it'll be your third year with Andrew Vu? You know, and then you may not have to do a show at all
Yep.
because top three automatically qualify.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
you never know. So,
We did talk about that, like
mhm.
he has like a goal thing that you have to send in and fill out. And, obviously, like we all know, we have to pay our dues and, work your way up. And of course, like I want to always put like the main goal is to win. But realistically, I want top three. And that's just been my main focus right now is top three. Don't get greedy. Just do
Mhm.
what you need to do to steal that deal. If by chance that we can't, do make the top three, we make 4 or 5, and we do have to requalify, I would 100% do Triple O Dynasty next year and take the
Right.
same concept and run with it. It was a beautiful show. The girls were amazing. It was very well ran. I mean, it was probably one of the best pro shows I've ever done. But I would by far do that show. Absolutely.
Yeah. And just follow the same path.
Yep.
So
Yep.
it's
Exactly.
exciting. How have you handled? And again, you've been doing this what 19 years,
17. Yeah. But
17
competing
years,
17. So Olympia will be my 32nd show.
and so you've been there, done that. But
Yes.
still, the distractions can come. Every year is different. How have you been able to handle the distractions so far, or has it been
They
like no biggie?
Yeah, I mean, we're all there for the same reason. But
Hmm.
as you watch the list get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, it's like, okay. And then you get on social media, and they're always the first people you see every day. And you're
Yeah.
like, okay, we got to figure something out here. So if it starts to irritate me, then I will like kind of like mute it. I'll mute
Right.
their accounts. I don't want to see it. Remember back in the day, like there was no social media. So nobody really knew what their competition was coming up with. All
Right.
these guys were coming into stage like on their A game. And I feel like a lot of times like people scroll or you see who your competition is, and then you just start to like either doubt yourself or they have this and you don't have this. And I feel
Hmm.
like it just distracts you from your own prep, and then you get so caught up in their prep that you end up bombing. So I mean,
Exactly.
I have the confidence now. I'm not scared of the stage. I don't ever get the jitters anymore. This is fun to me. This is what I live for. But
Yeah.
distraction wise, I mean, I'll mute them. I have a lot of people
Yeah.
that I mute, and it's no hard feelings. It's not. I don't hate you girls or anything, but your
Hey.
competition, and it's just like I got to focus on me and stay in my own lane.
Right. One of the questions I asked Ashley and a few other competitors that are entrepreneurs, and you are in a big way with the gym, the t-shirt company, your coaching, and other clients. How do you manage that? Because now you get ready for the biggest stage, but you got your own clients that you have to get them ready for their stage as well.
I mean, so it's balanced, and it's working together too, one with Jeff. Jeff's been amazing with this whole thing. He's the one that said, go ahead and take the back seat, while you're getting ready for Triple O. And the same thing, obviously, with the Olympia. He has been like manhandling the gym way more. I do a
Mm-hmm.
lot of stuff like at home, or I do go in and train and come home. And it does make it nice because I don't have a lot of in-house clients because I kind of put a stop on that right now. So my time is being able to be utilized different, but I do have onlines. and I am 100% on them every morning. I start my morning with them. I get them
Mm-hmm.
done and out of the way, and then I work through my day. I do my book work, my banking, my clients, and everything in the
Yeah.
morning. And then you go to the gym, you train, get that out of the way in the morning, and then it's like, come at me. Whatever else wants to happen, happens.
Yeah.
You check all the different emails and things like that. But it's just, you got to find a balance so you don't get overwhelmed.
And as a business owner, you had to get those taxes filed, and
I
you're
didn't
in
do
prep.
them yet.
And it's like, where is this receipt? Where is that?
I'm working on I have the P&Ls going. I have my year to end ready to go. I just have to send them out, like recalculate. I mean, but it's the same thing. Like we always file an extension, and I messaged my accountant. I'm like, hey,
Yeah.
did you? And he's like, don't worry, I already did, because he knows.
Yes. And that's just part of doing business, because you always getting new business, new
Yep.
proposals. Everybody's pulling at you and say,
Yep.
hey, I got this idea, that, because you got a lot of sponsors and you're such a great marketer,
Yep.
from, Luminex, to Gaspari. I mean, what's it been like working with them? Obviously great, but
I am working, like, well, I have MegaFit meals, which are freaking
right.
amazing. I get free meals for them. Liquid
And that's
Sunrays.
a huge
Yes,
part of prep.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and I'll tell you what, that family of MegaFit meals is phenomenal. They're so great. Liquid Sunrays, the same thing. I'm working with that Bikini Hawaii Labs. Like, her suits are
Yes.
absolutely amazing.
Beautiful
I have,
suit at the Triple O. Beautiful.
yeah, yeah, and I'm still debating. Like, it's a big thing. Like I just said, she does not like you wearing the same suit twice in a year, and I'm really debating if I want to swap or not. So we're thinking about that. But
Get a new
but
one. Hey, yeah, get
I
it.
know.
It's the 60th. It's the 60th Olympian.
True, true. I think I might have to. But I mean, everybody that I work with, I like with Stage Ready Hair. I mean, OCD
Yes.
Cookies have been amazing. Like, I mean, just everybody that I work with, you have been,
Mhm.
a blessing, because you're helping, women's have a limelight. And you do, like you mentioned, you have 3 big sponsors now that you have that are going to the Olympia. We all put
Yeah.
our heart and soul into it, and it means a lot to us when you guys are putting your heart and soul into us. We want to give that same thing back.
Yeah. And that wasn't a precursor. It was just like, how would you market Amazon's fitness magazine, and what would be your marketing plan? The fact that nobody could have seen this. I certainly didn't. That all
Mm-hmm.
3 of you can qualify for the Olympia. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
After last Saturday, I was really walking around the house like, yeah, this is good.
Yep.
This is good.
It's like you rolled that dice. You
Yeah.
knew. We're all
And
starting
who
to think
knew?
about it and be like, okay, so who's gonna win?
Yeah. Hey, the biggest thing, hey, y'all finished 1, 2, 3. Hey,
Yep. Hey,
I'm just saying.
even better.
I gotta be pulling. I don't know who's gonna get 1, 2, or 3, but hey, it's gonna be a
Yep.
battle. Have you
Yep.
thought about that? I mean, obviously, as you said this before, everybody's only focused on Andrea,
Mm-hmm.
but she's going for 5.
Yep.
But now you look at your left and right, it's like, ooh, okay.
Mm-hmm. And it's like everybody's got their highlights, their strengths, their
Mm-hmm.
weaknesses, and it's going to come down to who has it all. Like, who is
Yeah,
100% balanced, who has the full muscle bellies, who's got the balance, who's got the X frame, who has the conditioning, and it's just going to be like who has every puzzle piece put together.
right.
Yeah.
And the biggest part, you gotta be peaking at the right time. And back to your
Yep.
point, yeah, if you got worn out from doing too many shows, and
Yep.
you ain't at your best, it's
Yeah,
not
I mean,
good.
that's the hardest thing is, if you do a show and then you got to pull back and scale back, on
Mm-hmm.
the food and supplements, the body sometimes can't bounce back. The metabolism goes AWOL. You can't pick it back up, and then you're
Right.
you're doomed. And
Yeah.
it's like you are already all in, contracts are signed,
Yes.
and then it's just, you got to show up. And I mean, even my 2020 one, the local people back here that I have, they literally looked at me, was like, she was tapped out.
Yeah.
Like, my body just wasn't having it.
Yeah.
But I was there, and I'm glad it happened then, because it was just like jitters are out. That was my first Olympia. And you pray to God you get to go back. And
Yeah.
you just sit there and think that, okay, like I'm back again and I'm back again. But
Exactly.
yeah, it's crazy.
And that's why I was telling Marika Jones, you got to cherish it, because not everybody gets to an Olympia. Period.
Yeah, exactly. And
Let
it's a lot
alone
harder
even get
now.
their
It's a
pro
lot.
card. Yeah.
Yep.
And when the points went away, the good part of that, maybe people weren't doing so many shows, but if you win, you're in.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's great. And the biggest part about it, like I said, I'm glad that you're back on the cover again. But in your article, The Art of Bodybuilding, how to be a good loser,
Mm-hmm.
and how to be a good winner.
Yep.
Don't be, either way, you got to have the balance, because you give somebody else clickbait, you didn't do well at a show. And just talk about that for a minute. Being a good winner, not being a sore loser.
I mean, it's like I said, it's being like, there was a quote in one of the songs that's saying like, I'm not cocky, I'm confident, and
Yes.
it's, you win, and it's not that you're throwing it in the face, you're just so happy that you won, and
Right.
you may flood your feeds and everything else like that, and then you get your congratulations and everything, and that's great, and you hit that podium. Some people will never get to feel what it feels like to have a crown on your head, a sash, an Olympia qualification, and I take that
Yes.
with a grain of salt, because I'm thankful every day that I was able to do that for the third time. But
Yes.
it's, if you lose, you don't ever look at it as losing. It's
Right.
just you figuring out, okay, well, what do I need to fix? What things need adjusted. And honestly, if you don't stumble, you can't correct yourself. You can't make yourself any
Right.
better. And there's certain things, in life that happen that if they didn't happen, I wouldn't be here right now.
Right.
So everything happens for a reason, and it's just like, don't get sour about it. Do not make negative posts. Be happy that you even had that opportunity to step those 2 feet on that stage and compete with the lineup that you did. Because a lot of other girls do not even get to stand where they're with most people get to stand. I've lost,
Right.
I've won. I know the feeling of both. I know the feeling of winning 3 pro shows and then getting knocked down for 2 in a row last year. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it hurts, it stings, but I can't be sour about it, and look what I did. I
Right.
took what happened to me in 23 and I fixed it and then some. So that's all
Yeah.
you have to do. You can't let it get to you. You can't let it mess with your head, and you just have to make the adjustments.
Is it a good recommendation, whether you win or lose a show, the 24-hour rule? That's one of the things that Nick Saban said at Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
Because don't hit sin. You jump on there, you get into a rant, and of course, it can go off the rails just in the post interviews of the show.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think happened?
They
You know,
It's true. I mean, it is, and most people will call it like prep brain, because
right,
you're down, you're up, you're water depleted, you're drained, so your mental thought are not 100% there. So it's like, don't make rash decisions, like they do, like whenever they say, oh, you're on medication, you can't sign anything until
yeah,
after that. It's
yeah,
the same thing. I mean, you got to give yourself some time to break and relax. Don't, like I said, don't be hard on yourself. Go enjoy yourself for the night, let your body recoup, and then you can write whatever post you want, but it just never be negative. Nobody wants to follow a negative person,
no,
and everybody wants to be able to have some type of positivity, but they also want to know what it feels like to lose in a good way. So if
right.
it happens to them, they know how to adjust to it.
And because you do have clients, number one, they look at her,
Mhm.
you know,
Yep, you
they
got
want
to
to look at how
be.
you handle it,
I mean, a role model. You know what I mean? Like, I can't be a
exactly,
two-time Olympian and I lost last year and I act like an amateur.
right,
So it's just, you got to remember who you are, where you came from. To remain humble. And there's a lot of people watching you. And you don't
oh
want
yes,
to have a temper tantrum like a 2-year-old.
yeah,
You still
yeah.
have to keep yourself up here.
People really look hard at how you respond when you don't win, and
Yes.
and the whole part of it, everybody is waiting on you to fall. That's
Yep.
that's the bad part about it, and that's just part of sports and the whole thing.
What
But
is it?
yeah,
What is it like? The harder the fall, the greater the climb.
exactly.
And that's literally, like I said, that's what I did from last year. I
And
mean, I was tucking my tail between my legs, knew I made some mistakes, and then we fixed it.
right, and it hurts. Yeah,
Hmm.
you didn't train all this
Yep.
time. You start
Yep.
questioning how long I've been doing this. Is it worth it?
Yep.
And then you come back and it's like, oh, okay, yes.
Yep. And that's what
Don't
I
make a
mean, I
rash
think I
decision.
no,
Mhm.
and I think that that's what I wanted to stress about too, because even in the one post after I was done, you're always one decision away from a total different life. Now,
Yes.
when I was writing that one post and I was putting those photos out of me, I reason why I was crying is because I was ready to quit. I was ready to
Mm.
back up. I not that I had enough. I've just been in the sport long enough. I did everything I thought I possibly could, but I would have walked away never seeing this physique and never seeing my full potential on a pro stage ever. And that's what hit home for me. knowing that
And
it was right there and I was going to walk away.
and you would have all been questioning it, and
Yep.
you
Yep.
didn't.
Never
You
known.
came out of the darkness because I'm like, once you
Yep.
make that decision, you end up with the regrets years later. It's like, damn, I wonder
Yep.
what would have happened.
Yep. And even if, you have those thoughts, you're still digging yourself back up out of the hole because you already buried
Yeah,
yourself because you just made this hole for you. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
there was just like a feeling of emptiness. And then all of a sudden it was like, you know what? I'm better than this. And I know
Mhm.
I can be better. So, I mean, it's just getting yourself back up. But people can tell you to do it, but you have to be the one that does it.
Mhm. And it's been a minute now, but can you speak to what the judges said about to you, and what did Andrea say to you? And because all the comments were crazy, and everybody was such in shock, and they really wasn't expecting what the package that you brought.
I talked to Andrea a lot, and she came and sat with us, like, mid show, and she's like, damn, I really got to up my game this year.
Uh,
you know? And I said, we follow you. I watch your
yeah,
stage presentation. I watch your videos and training and things like that. And, that, I mean, it was a good conversation.
yeah.
And I had an email sent to Sandy, and she said,
Hmm.
everything is beautiful. Everything's perfect. Hair, makeup, suit, tan, and everything. She's like, she took two pictures of me and Andrea and put them beside each other. Actually,
Oh
three
boy.
pictures. And I was
Uh-oh.
like, oh my goodness, she compared me to Andrea. I'm like, oh my God. So, I mean, that to me just boosted my confidence and
Yeah,
saying that I could be a threat to her. Even through a podcast we did with Wendy and Linda, they both said the same thing.
yeah.
I come in a
When you on
hair
Olympia
tighter.
TV, yeah.
Yeah, I could be a very big threat to her. Yep.
They were not blowing smoke, you
Yeah.
know.
Yep.
They weren't.
Yep.
That
Yep.
just
It's just
confirms what everybody else saw. Like, but you really got to focus on what the judges say, such as
correct.
Sandy, and so that's a huge endorsement, and then
Yep.
a huge endorsement from the champ. It's like, oh,
Yep.
now,
Yep. Yeah.
being a promoter and everybody coming to her show to support it, you really put a target on your head. But at the
Mm-hmm.
same time, the flip side is, so now you can do some scouting. Like, okay, I see where
Yep.
she is.
I mean, it
But
was crazy because like after Triple O, I walked off stage pre-judge, mind you, and everybody's like, "Congratulations," giving me the big hugs, and
ah,
I'm like looking at everybody, and I'm like, "Yo, it's
it
not
ain't
over
over till
yet.
it's over.
Like, it ain't
Yeah,
over yet." And they're like, "No, it's just that obvious." And
yeah,
I was just like, I'm like humble, and I'm just like, I still got to bring my A game. We only had 30 minutes to
yeah,
actually like decompress because we went right back on, which I loved. If they could do that for a lot of
yeah.
shows. Um, but yeah, it was just wild. It gave you more confidence going into the night show. And then my routine came on and the music was just crap. You couldn't hear it at all. I
Yeah,
was like just trying to beat it out. Like, so when I posted on social media, I had to find my actual routine song and match the video so it
exactly.
would go
Yeah.
together. Yeah. Yeah.
And there's always something happens. How
Yep.
do you handle that? You get a show and something's wrong. The tan's not right, or the
Mm-hmm.
music's not right. How do you maintain focus? And you're a seasoned veteran, but what would
Mm-hmm.
you tell those that are just still climbing the ladder that you're climbing, and say, "Hey, this is what you need to do," because you can't let it see emotions on your face when you win or lose.
Oh yeah.
But at the same time, if your music doesn't go off, you let damn, it takes you completely out of your element of your routine. How do you
Yep.
handle that?
I was hoping to God, and I mean the video that came out because I did that Gillo Productions. The video
Hmm.
came out. I was like, I don't even want to see my face because I'm probably like trying to hear the music as best I can, but I don't know what happened. I just blacked
Hmm.
out, and I just kind of picked up on little beats. Now, mind you, my song was all instrumental. If I would have had some lyrics, it would have been a little easier.
Yeah.
But it was hard to do, and I mean, but I had to put on a happy face and act like that thing was blaring 100%. And if your song doesn't come on and they put the wrong song on, just go. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Just you have your routine in your head, just go. Like don't make an issue about it. Just move on. Don't stress about it because you know what stress does to the body. It just releases a
Hmm.
bunch of cortisol and then you're in bigger trouble than just a song not working.
Right. And so the timeline worked out. A lot of goodie bags. It's always a
Yep.
great show when you got a great hostess, and that's huge. But this
Yep.
prize money is ticking the right way.
Yep.
You saw what happened with the Texas Pro, Sarah Vegas, $15,000. Hey,
Yep.
they gotta add women's bodybuilding, and hey, we're on our way.
Yep.
But I
I
think,
had a discussion at Tampa with
uh huh,
Andrew Bear with I think it was Andrew. and not my coach, but a friend, Andrew, and they were going to try to bring bodybuilding. They were actually going to sponsor that show to have female bodybuilding at the Texas Pro because it's such a good run show. And I don't
Nice.
know that it went any further for this year, but it was talked about at Tampa last year. There was supposed to be a group of people they were trying to get together to try to say, "Hey, I want women bodybuilding. I'll sponsor it to even put it in your show." So
Right.
it was in talks, but I don't think it happened.
Maybe it'll materialize.
Yeah.
But Theresa, how do we get women's bodybuilding at the Pittsburgh Pro? That
I need to work with my people over here.
yeah,
I
I'm just
do.
saying let's send a ladder. Let's get on a call. You know, you're right.
Yeah.
You're in Butler. I mean, you're
Yeah.
right there. You know,
Yep.
you shouldn't have to
I'll
go
have
away to
to.
Arizona. But I mean, yeah. But anyway,
Yeah. I'll do some talking. You know, and say like, "Hey,
yeah,
this is our hometown here. Can we please add women's bodybuilding back?" You know, it'd be good
yeah,
because
yeah,
they just added women's physique. But I will say, it doesn't help that there was only 3 people there. You
yeah,
know, so I mean,
yeah.
Jolene was one of my clients, and she got second there. She's going to do
Mm-hmm.
Toronto Pro in 2 weeks. But yeah, it was just not a good turnout. The first year they
Yeah,
did it, you know, and there was a good lineup, but then it started to dwindle, and like these aren't good for having somebody else come up and say, "Oh yeah, by the way, can we add women's bodybuilding when women's physique
yeah.
is only
After
showing up
what
with
just
3?"
happened, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. So, and speaking of which, back to you. You got a client at the Pittsburgh Pro. She gets second, and
hmm
now she's doing the Toronto Pro. Are you going to go
yep,
with her? And again, that bros in the balance of your whole timeline for the
yep,
Olympia. So
yeah.
again, back
I'd
how you going to manage that, or what's your thoughts? What have you looked at?
I mean, I would love to go. I was actually the suit sponsor, I believe, for that you guys have. She wanted to do some filming up there if I was going because I think she's
Mm,
competing at that show.
right,
But I'm not going to be able to go just because it's just a lot of food and packing and leaving the gym and stuff like that. But
right,
I can do it remote. I've gotten a lot of people their pro cards, through
right.
remote. Actually, she was one of them. She was
Mm-hmm.
down in Junior USA's and she got her pro card. Same thing with Justine Elbert. She had her pro card just through remote. So Keisha, there's a bunch of them. So it
Yeah,
can be done, obviously.
yeah,
Andrew does it to a million people too, but I'd love to. It's just, it's the packing and
right.
staying on track with everything. I'm not gonna be able to this year.
Yeah. And at the time of Toronto, what will you be like 15 weeks, 14 weeks out from the Olympia? Nah, you
Oh,
gotta, yeah.
yeah.
It's you
Wasn't
gotta be
thinking
single
that way,
point
but
focused.
yes, yes,
Yeah, you gotta be single point focused now. I mean, you know, to take care of you and do you, and it'll all work out,
yep.
because at the end of the day, you train them and
hmm
they do what you tell them to do, they're gonna be
Yep,
fine. So
yep,
that'll just be more to
absolutely.
celebrate.
Yep.
More to celebrate. What's going on with the gym? You were gonna expand it. Where are you with that?
Well, everything's on hold with that. Just because of the Olympia, I don't even want to look at buildings, let alone
Well,
more
stop
equipment.
qualifying for the Olympia. You won't have these products.
I know. The gym keeps getting the back burner.
Hey,
I mean, it's just finding land right now too, because him and we did come to an agreement that we don't want a building. They're all built odd, and then you do more damage with restructuring it, and it's just so we want to build. So we need land, a pool building. I'm working with a lot of locals, chiropractors, rest active labs that we were actually going to put in the building with us. So we have a
hmm
lot of other people that would like to join. We also want to put a smoothie in. So we just need to know how much square footage we want and get these people on board and have like a one-stop shop for everybody.
that's
We're
great.
thinking about it, but
Yeah.
and then we're also, I think it might not be an NPC show, but Jeff and I are probably going to hold a local bodybuilding show. We're hoping like
hmm
in 2025 and just do like a Mr. and Mrs. Butler County. But another thing that we want to do, there'll be no sanction fees or anything like that. It'll just be entries. But we are going to open it up to special needs, wheelchair, and doing a transformation round for people. So
hmm
we're gonna really kind of just go outside the grain. We do want to put in cash prizes for the first place, even though it's an amateur show. We have a good location. We might be doing it at our Penn Theater that just reopened and was restored. So we have a lot of ideas, floating for that too.
That's great. Oh, and then by the
Yeah.
way, you still got that book going, and then
Yeah.
the
And the ebook
documentary
that
is
I
still
can't
on.
finish.
Yeah.
I can't. I
these
have
are
no
these are all
time.
great problems to have, though.
Yeah. Yep. I got
Because
a
you got to
big
get ready
to-do
to go.
list.
Yeah. But hey, and it just at the end of the day, you're just gonna keep getting more and more opportunities. So
Absolutely. Yes.
I'm not gonna hold you any longer. I really appreciate you for coming on, Theresa. We'll talk more as we get closer, but hey, couldn't be more happy that you and Ashley and Hella are qualified for the O. So go get it. Go all
We
out.
all
Go
need to
get it.
do a shoot together.
We need to make
We
that happen.
all.
You
We
do.
all.
Get all y'all into North Carolina or at Vegas or
Are you
something.
well, if you go to Vegas and at the Olympia, we just have to pick a time and day and we all just do a quick shoot.
That's the plan.
Yeah.
But
We
hey,
gotta get some matching Amazon outfits though.
or you're the one that does the shirts. So you got to come up with something.
I can pull something. I can do something there.
And I love the sponsor shirt that you had made going into the Triple O. That
Yes.
blue and everything. That's your color. That
Yep.
royal blue
Yep.
is nice.
Yep. I'm doing a collab with Old School Bodybuilding. So there's a shirt coming out
I
that
saw.
we just
Yeah.
collaborated with. It's really cool. So we're getting ready to launch that too.
So many more opportunities they're gonna keep coming. So
Yep.
just get used to it and enjoy it. So hey, it was meant to be at the end of the
Yes.
day.
Yes. I'm
Thanks for
having
coming
fun
on,
doing
Theresa.
it. Thank you so much for having me.
And I'm gonna let you get back because I know you're busy. So thanks for taking the time out.
Thank you for having me, Glenn.
All right. Coming up tomorrow, continuing with everyone that's done the women's physique New York Pro, and it just worked out that way. Nadia Enriquez, and then of course Gina Cavallero is coming on at 3 p.m. tomorrow, and we're going to talk about the New York Pro. So that was great that worked out. She did her women's bodybuilding show there, got 5th. So excited to talk to her. So make sure you guys tune in tomorrow. More to come. More podcasts next week. So like, share, and subscribe. And of course, subscribe to the Amazon's fitmag.com website. So thanks for all the support. And when you do more, we can do more. So let's go get it. Talk soon, guys. See you tomorrow.